Well, dominating the news everywhere is that Prince Andrew is no longer using his royal title, the Duke of York. So what does this mean for Harry and Meghan? Is this a warning shot across the pond? So I'm going to discuss what is going on and recent events in regards to Harry and Meghan, and also what this means going forward. If this is the channel for you where you want to get to the truth of everything, not just looking at clickbait and gossip, then this could be the channel for you. I explore body language, behaviour, not just what's being said, but reading between the lines of what's not being said to get to the truth. So if you've got this far, well, go grab your drink of choice, whatever that may be. Sit back, relax as we get into some tea with a touch of therapeutic knowledge. So hey everyone, hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I'm sure most of us by now have woken up to this, what's been going on over the weekend in regards to Prince Andrew no longer using his Duke of York title. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this because I know that there seems to be some confusion as to what is going on for some people. So he hasn't actually had his title completely stripped. That has to come from Parliament. That has to be in the House of Commons. So that has to be an act of Parliament, even for Harry and Meghan. But what I believe has happened is that they have decided, the royal family have decided enough is enough. He has brought disrepute to the royal family for too long. Most of us know that Prince William just has no love for his uncle. So I possibly believe they've sat down and had a discussion and said, right, we've got two options. We either now put this through, which is going to take time, but it is going to be, in a sense, more embarrassing for you that we have had to go through this, and you're then stripped of this title. Or you can save face and say that you have decided to stop using it. That way, in effect, you're not stripped of the title, but you have decided to stop using it. That way, it almost like looks a little bit better, albeit that we probably know that he was strong-armed into this. Because if he was going to do it, he would have done it, ages ago when this all first started coming out. So I think and I wonder if an agreement has been made behind the scenes, because it'll be interesting to see if he's changed on the royal website or if he's removed from the property that he is in. Now, it is very possible, which I don't agree with if this is the case, but we don't know, if he's been bargained with. So it's like, well, if you step down in a sense and you relinquish using the title, then we will let you stay in this property, or we'll do something. Because I don't know if I believe that they have just said to him, you've got to relinquish this title. The only other way, like I said, is if they've said, right, we are willing and prepared to go through Parliament to get this title removed. You've got that, or you can just decide to do it yourself. Because King Charles has been trying to get him removed and put into Frogmore, and Prince Andrew has refused. So does this mean that will happen? I don't know. I mean, I know there's been a little bit of backlash in regards to the Prince and Princess of Wales moving to their new property, but I just find that ridiculous. They are the future heirs to a kingdom. This is kind of in relation to that. It's ridiculous that people think that they would be staying where they stay. It's like, come on, get a grip. But anyway, so I do wonder if that will happen. Now, I know that some people have said, well, we've looked on the royal website and it's all still there. It takes time. If you look at certain changes that have happened on the royal website, they don't happen overnight. And these are, and I'm not just talking about a statement being put on, it's actual major changes to the website. I mean, I think the last major change was January this year. So it does take time, but it will happen. I imagine it will happen. They will then implement those changes. But at the moment, and I think is it the Order of the Garter? He's now removed from that. He's relinquished that as well. So I think that he hasn't got anything now. So now he is just simply Prince Andrew, and Sarah is no longer the Duchess of York. She is now just Sarah Ferguson. Now, the two princesses, obviously Beatrice and Eugenie, are keeping the Princesses of York title. So possibly that is why it hasn't gone through Parliament, is just in a way to, maybe they have said, if it goes through Parliament, your daughters will lose that title as well. So maybe to protect his daughters, he has said, look, I will relinquish the title, but I want my daughters to stay, because they are, they are blood-born princesses. So, and it's not fair, in my opinion, for them to be punished for what their father and mother have got up to over the years. I mean, that's not their fault. So that's potentially what I feel has happened, is that he has been strong-armed or persuaded in some way. But like I say, we'll see if he is removed from that property. Now, if he's not removed now, because maybe the king is not doing it, I more than likely will say that when William becomes king, he will remove, because he wants Andrew gone. I mean, he can't be gone like literally from the family, because he's still a prince. He's still a blood-born prince, but he wants him gone from, in a sense, royal life. So I think that this is the start. This is the start, a slow trickle effect of what could be happening. And so then where does this leave Harry and Meghan? So I know that a lot of people question whether this, what would happen if Harry and Meghan divorce. So this is the same thing. So if Harry and Meghan divorce, because people have often said if Harry gets his title removed, she will then start calling herself princess. In effect, she could do that now. She is still, even though she's Duchess of Sussex, which is a more regal title, she could, if she wanted to be pedantic, still call herself Princess Henry. I don't think that she will do that, but that's what she could call herself. But the same thing, if they divorce, or if Harry loses his title, she will also lose the title. Now, if they're divorced, she doesn't have anything. So, because the title is in connection to the marriage to Harry, it is by honour of the monarch whether they retain the title. So, for example, when Charles and Diana divorced, it was the late Queen that agreed to let her keep using the Princess of Wales title. The same with Sarah Ferguson. It was of the late Queen that said that they could still use, but the monarch can take that away. So if they divorce, Harry loses his title, she becomes Meghan Markle. So this thing of she becomes Princess Henry, that will only stay if Harry still has his title, but also if the monarch agrees. So there is every chance that when Prince William becomes king, that he removes the title from Harry, where then she could become Princess Henry. But if they're divorced, she becomes Meghan Markle. And this is why I have said that she has been banging on to get everyone to call her Meghan Sussex, because she knows, and in my opinion, she knows that divorce has been spoken about. There is no way you shop for a divorce book on divorcing Harry if this has not been spoken about. So these two, as I've said before, they're not together romantically. They are together as like, this is an arrangement now. But I do absolutely believe that that divorce has been discussed, or it's been thrown about in an argument. I would absolutely guarantee that. So if she then calls herself Meghan Sussex, if Harry loses his title, unless she changes her name by whatever it is that they might do in the US, like she changes it from Meghan Markle officially to Meghan Sussex, then that title will go. Because it is only by the grace of the monarch that they get to keep that title. And I don't see William, if he's removing the title from Harry, that he will then allow Meghan to keep using the title. Because in all fairness, she is the main problem. I'm not saying Harry is innocent, because he's absolutely not. But she is the main problem. And this is what's concerning, I think, to a lot of people, is how this will play out. So do I feel that this is a warning shot? Yes, I do. Because I think that this is now setting a precedence now. Because what that's basically saying is, if we can remove a title from the son of a monarch, then we absolutely can now remove that from Harry if you're not careful. You know, if you're bringing so much disrepute to the royal family, we are willing to do that. We are willing to put things in place. Now, again, there is every chance that they will have a conversation with Harry and they will say, you need to relinquish your title. And if you do, we will give you this, 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 and this, or just this. Because I think that Harry wants some level of purpose. Because as I've said before, he is literally a bum. Now, what seems to be happening is he is literally following Meghan around. Like, she's the one organising these paid for events. She's the one that's organising these paid for awards. And he's just following along because he has no sense of purpose. He doesn't know what to do with himself. So he's just following whatever she does. You know, I will give her the one and only thing is that this woman knows how to grift and knows how to manipulate people and get herself in the media consistently. She knows how to do that, you know, which is why she did Paris. And I will say that till I'm blue in the face. This woman has always coveted fashion, always. Even when you go back to the Tig days, she has always coveted that. This has now, in a sense, given her an opening door that nobody would have touched her before, because if they did, they would have, you know. So I think she's, you know, she's coveted fashion. She has coveted Hollywood. Hollywood is done. It's not going to open the doors to her because they're done with her. So now that this is what the way she's moving in. So I think that, and I'll get to this in a minute. So I think that she absolutely is very capable of whatever manipulation that she can think of. And Harry, like I say, he's just a bum. He you know, he doesn't work. He doesn't do anything. He's got a couple of charities that he has got left that hasn't got upset with him in some way, or he's still involved in. And he just uses those to get media attention. But she is now front and center. You know, even when you see like the stuff on her Instagram, she is front and center. She wants a fashion line, and it would not be a far stretch, as I said before, that she's going to go into also makeup. And who does that? Victoria Beckham. And like I say, I'm going to get to this bit in a minute to finish this bit off with Harry. So I do feel this is a warning shot. This is basically saying, if we can do this to Andrew, we can do this to you. And I think that this has been under the thing for a while, like I say, because when Meghan did that, you know, I'm Sussex now. I think that is what it is. She knows there is every chance that the title can go. But if it's drummed in that she is Sussex, then even if the title isn't used, people will still associate. But like I said, if they divorce, and the title is removed, it is only down to the grace of the monarch whether she gets to keep any title whatsoever. But that is only if they divorce. So she will be panicking. And this is why I've said before that she needs to create something successful. So when it happens and Harry's discarded, she is, in a sense, successful in her own right, in her mind. So before I get into the next bit, just a reminder to please like the video if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you haven't already, because it does help YouTube tell me that I am a channel worth keeping. Even though my subscribers are going up, it is the views that matter. The views that is what gives the ad revenue, that helps YouTube support my channel and helps the money that I use for the free therapy program. Without your views, I cannot sustain this channel. You know, I know that I feel like I bang on about this, but this free therapy program is deeply, deeply important to me. And so this is where I'm asking for your help to please view the videos. Also go across to Bite-Size Tea, Coffee and Crime. Just view my videos. Even if if it's something you're not interested in, if you are somebody that likes me as a person and you want to support what I do, even if the video is not something that you're particularly interested in, just stick it on mute, stick it in the background and just let it run its course, because that will still class as a view and it will help YouTube keep me going. It's, you know, this is so important to me. You know, there are various ways that you can also support. You can become a member, super chat, hype, bubble merchandise, treat me to a cup of coffee. All the links are in description box below. You can join my other platforms as well. I'm over on TikTok where I do different things, Instagram, different things. I don't just copy and paste. Even on Bite-Size Tea, the videos are different. They're not just a cut down version of the same video. Everything I do is different. If you become a member, you get to ask me a question and I do a video and upload it. There's different things that you'll get also as a membership. If you want a happy birthday, I will offer that to you just as a thank you for becoming a member. You'll get your name running across the bottom here as well. So yeah, there's lots of different ways you can support, because ultimately everything that I do is to keep this free therapy program running. So if you don't want to do anything as in like contribute money as a donation, then you can go onto my Amazon wish list and you can treat me to something there, which gets sent to my address. I have a PO box as well. You can write to me if you so choose. But as always, no matter what you do, even if you're just viewing these videos, thank you so much for your support, because it really does mean a lot. I know that you are paying it forward to help someone who is in need. Right, okay, part 2. So we have recently seen, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, that Emma Grady does seem to have aligned with Meghan, which is interesting because in September this year, she was actually given a position in the King's Trust. So she's now connected to King Charles. And then we also have recently, she hosted a dinner party, and who was sitting there but Meghan Markle. And she actually states in that dinner party that she's going to help her, in her words, get this done. I've got to be careful what I say on YouTube. Now, I find that very interesting. Now, as I said before, I always believe that Meghan grooms people. So I think that when she was in Spotify, because she was still wanting access to Hollywood, if you notice that she groomed people with connections to Hollywood. Now that didn't happen and didn't go anywhere. So of course, then we have the Lemonada podcast. And what did she then do? She then brought in women who were very successful in running their own businesses and were millionaires. These weren't just women that were starting out. These were women that have become very successful and had a lot of money. And I said that when that first happened, I believe that she's grooming people to help her go into business with her, which was why she needed her as ever to look successful. It's not, but she needed to use that, which was why she was white labeling products to make it seem that she was creating things. She was cooking things in her kitchen, which is really bizarre given that you're not really allowed to do that. It's one thing if you're gifting it to the odd friend, but when you cannot even hold tongs the right way, that shows you that you don't know what you're doing. You've only got to look at her as ever program to see that she isn't someone that cooks a lot. She doesn't really know what she's doing, which is why she brings in chefs to do the cooking for her to make it look like she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't. So this is exactly what she's done. And the problem you have is that when you're somebody that has been given money and given a platform, a public platform, she's now using that to create people to believe that she's somebody when she's actually not. This is not a feminist. This is not somebody that has worked her way up. She has literally, she's almost the absolute opposite of what a feminist is, where she's used men to get where she needs to be. In every single thing that she has done, she used her father to open the doors. And in fact, her father was the one that started it, in my opinion, by letting her have using his contacts to get her the Nickelodeon interview, which I think then fed her ego for her to believe that she was someone that could create change. He led her to believe that she was, as an 11-year-old, could create a change in a $1 million company that spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars creating an advert, but this little 11-year-old was the one that helped change it. Nothing to do with the fact there was a huge movement going on at the time, and I think Gloria Steinem was spearheading this, which is interesting how she's aligned with Gloria Steinem, because she's taken credit for that. And there was a huge movement going on at the time with women. So it was nothing to do with this little 11-year-old that writing some letter in her cursive writing to Procter and Gamble. This was all her father, in a sense, lying about Hillary Clinton responding, all of those things, which then set her ego on fire, where she then probably was like, oh my God, I'm so important. So then that set the precedence for her. He helped get her into that, where she was on set all the time. And so then, of course, then she marries Trevor, who then helped her get the part in Suits. The minute she secured season 2, it was bye-bye Trevor. Then she was like, oh, that's not good enough. I need to get into more social elite circles. So she then started going, so she was obviously then befriending Marcus Anderson, who she's used. Then Marcus Anderson then introduced her to Corey Vitiello, and then there was the Mulroneys. And then again, as soon as then she secured the next upper level, which was then the introduction and obviously meeting Harry, then bye-bye Corey. Bye-bye Corey. And this is what will happen with Harry. At the moment, there is no one else that will give her what she needs. So she's going to be after a billionaire, and it'll be some unsuspecting, probably older guy that, I don't know, that just either isn't on the internet a lot and doesn't see who she is, or she's just able to charm and manipulate. But if it's not that, then it's going to be what she does also. She uses women. She discarded her best friend. Once her best friend, she was going on holiday, sitting outside Buckingham Palace. Her best friend was everything. And then obviously then when she started moving in the Suit circles, it was bye-bye best friend. Another one, Jessica Mulroney, used her connections. And then it was like, oh, now I've got Harry, don't need you anymore. Lizzie Cundy was another one. She used Piers Morgan as another one. So she was using these people to elevate herself. And that is what she does. And now she's used her Lemonada podcast to basically, in a sense, interview these women who have got businesses, and then use them. And Emma Grady seems to be, unfortunately, the one that has possibly taken the bait. And I just find that very interesting, given that she has now just been, like I say, she's now in a position with the King's Trust. So I don't know what's going to happen here, because they don't trust Meghan. So is this potentially on purpose? I know some people have said that they believe they're all working together, and I don't. I really don't. But I would find this very interesting, how now that you've got Emma Grady, who is connected now to the King in that way, and now she's basically just stood up and said, I'm going to help Meghan get stuff done. So we also know that Emma Grady is connected to who? Khloe Kardashian, because they've got the, Good American Jean brand. So this is what I think is going to happen now. She is now manoeuvring herself into the fashion circles. And we also know that one of her insane jealousy moments is with Victoria Beckham. She also knows that Victoria Beckham is very successful. So I don't know exactly how this is going to work, because Meghan has got no work ethic. She wants people to get things done for her. She doesn't actually, she doesn't like relinquishing control. Emma Grady doesn't strike me as somebody that is an easy pushover. She doesn't. She's literally a very sort of good old Brit girl. I think she comes from the north, or she comes from London or somewhere, where she seems quite a tough cookie. Now, I don't know whether Meghan realises that going up against someone like Emma is going to be interesting. So, because at the moment it seems that Meghan is able to love bomb. So she's able to manipulate and groom. Why Emma hasn't seen through her, I don't know. Unless Emma is using her, because we've said this before, that I think, because I know that some people say, well, how is it that she gets this? Why do people still keep giving her this platform? Why do people keep still interviewing her? Because she brings publicity, albeit negative, but she still does. If, like I said in my last video, would you have heard of the Fortune Most Powerful Women if she wasn't going? Would Balenciaga have literally been on everyone's lips if Meghan Markle hadn't have turned up? Now, this is not for good reasons, but it doesn't, in the world of celebrity, they're so vacuous, it doesn't matter, because negative publicity is still publicity. It hasn't got legs and it hasn't got longevity, but it's still, hence why the guy from Balenciaga has come out and said, well, Meghan invited herself. You know, he's not a friend. He hasn't admitted and gone along with her story and her lie, but he's got the publicity, so he's used that. And now it's like, well, yeah, but I don't want to be associated with her. And that's what will happen. And that is what happens. People don't want to be associated with her. They'll use her for the publicity. So if you look at it from that context, people are using her as much as what she thinks that she's using them. So it's very possible that Emma Greedy will now use her for publicity for their jean brand. Because in all fairness, I hadn't even heard of Emma Greedy until she till this recently, until the stuff with Meghan. You know, I knew of the Jean Brown Khloe Kardashian, but I didn't actually know she was partnered with Emma Greedy. It was just Khloe Kardashian. So I think that Meghan is attempting to maneuver in the circles, because I think she is desperate to get this connection with the Kardashians, and she's probably seeing Emma as a way in. And she's also seeing Emma as someone who can back her potentially financially to start this, her next phase into fashion and beauty products. Because we also know that that is what Victoria Beckham is famous for. She hasn't just got a very, very successful fashion brand. She's also got a very successful makeup line and beauty line. And this is what Meghan covets. She wants that same level of fame. She wants the same level of positioning in the fashion world. You know, Met Gala, it opens the door to the Met Gala, etc. Now we know Anna Wintour was, I think, wasn't she was she the president of the Met Gala or something like that? But she's no longer in that circle. She's still very, very influential. So I think Meghan trying to groom Anna Wintour was also part of that. Like, I've got to get that photo shot of her speaking to, because in the media that's all been, oh, you know, and Anna Wintour and Meghan have a nice moment, when it's just Anna Wintour just being cordial. But Meghan knows that getting that shot is what's important, which is why I think it's also important how then Victoria Beckham showed photographs of them together. And they're actually in photographs, like purposely sitting down together as a photograph. And I absolutely do believe that because of Anna Wintour's influence, which is why Meghan won't be very successful to some degree, because Anna Wintour is very loyal to Victoria Beckham, and she knows that Victoria and Meghan do not get along. She also will know who Meghan is and what she's about. So as much as she's just playing the game on the surface of it, because she sees she sees the camera crew, and she's not going to come across as just not a very nice person, but she will know who Meghan is. And so there will be that in the circles. You know, there will be whispers. There will be, you know, don't trust this woman. But I think that the Good American Jean brand and Emma Greedy are just sort of on the outside of that. So I think that Meghan is that's what she's doing. She's sort of starting to groom people to maneuver in that circle to get them to back her. But it will be interesting where this goes, because like I say, Emma Greedy doesn't strike me as somebody that is just a walkover, that will just let Meghan do what she wants. She will, if she's backing her monetary wise, she is going to want a serious input into what Meghan does. And Meghan's not going to like that because she is a control freak. She's a narcissist. So she's not going to want someone monopolizing that. If you look at the footage, which I'm going to show on my Bite-Sized Tea channel, because I'm going to do that more of the body language stuff. But you see the way that she's sitting there when Emma's talking, and you can just see that she's not happy. She's not front and center. The limelight is not on her, but she's attempting to sit there like she's one of the most important people. You know, I'm a Duchess, you know. So she's kind of sitting there with this air about her, but it isn't about her. And she loves it to be all about her. So this is a very bizarre relationship, and I don't know where I see this going. I feel that Emma, I don't know if this is ever really going to get off the ground, because like I say, Emma seems like quite a strong character. She's not somebody that's going to put up with stuff, and Meghan isn't going to like relinquishing control. So yeah, and the other thing as well is that she also needs to be very careful, Emma, because Meghan is somebody that likes to take credit for things, and she likes to use people, and dare I say, you know, I don't know Emma's husband, but yeah, Meghan is known for, you know, trying to get in there. And I think people need to be very, very aware. I'm surprised that Emma doesn't know. So I don't know whether she's literally being fooled by Meghan right now because of Meghan pretending to be black, even though she's whiter than Casper, until she puts her fake tan on. But so whether or not, I don't know. It's just very bizarre to me that Emma clearly has respect for the royal family, because she's part of the King's Trust, but she's aligning with Meghan. So, or is this a calculated move by the royal family? Is this like, you know, we want you to keep an eye on her? So could that be this? Could that be the thing? Could this be that Emma and the King have spoken, and it's like, you know, I want you to kind of keep an eye on her and see what's kind of going on? I don't know. I don't know. But let me know what you think, guys. What do you think? You know, let me know your comments. And let me know your thoughts on what you feel is going on. I know there's lots of other things to cover. I know that they, you know, the whole putting a reel out on, like I say, but this is why I think she's almost like alluding to possibly going and wanting makeup brand. This is all. Like I say, this is now her revenge is against Victoria Beckham. It's Catherine, which is why she emulates Catherine. You know, you've only got to look at the, you know, Catherine in the, you know, was at the RAF, and then suddenly we have a picture of Meghan in some random plane cockpit. You know, Meghan is attempting, as she's always done, to be a royal in America, but she isn't. She isn't royal. She isn't regal. She isn't classy. She isn't any of those things. But she does things, I think, like I say, to bait the royal family. She wants, I think that she wants the divorce. I do, but she wants a huge payout. And I know that people say she doesn't want the divorce. Yes, she does. She doesn't respect Harry. She doesn't love Harry. Harry cannot take her any further. Even her title is really laughed at. It doesn't mean anything in America. So the fact of the matter is, she now needs that divide because she wants to go off on her own, but she's in a sense still tied to Harry. But what she wants, I believe, is a big payout. She has got demands. If they give her that, she will discard Harry. But until they do, she won't, because that's what she wants. Money equates power to somebody like Meghan. So yeah, that's just my thoughts and opinions. But let me know. I hope you have a great rest of the week, whatever you're doing, and I will see you as always in my video number 2 this week. But don't forget, as I've said, to go across to Bite-Sized Tea. If you want the link to that, go to the end of this video and you will see a round circle, and you click on that and it will take you straight to that channel where you can subscribe and watch the videos. There is a coffee and crime one there as well. If crime is more your thing and the psychology behind that, then that's also going to be there as well. If you see the squares, they are other videos, perhaps videos that you haven't seen. There might be a playlist, etc. So go across and watch those if you haven't. I say to please keep supporting this channel and get my views up, because at the moment I'm having to work more in the private sector and I'm just struggling to keep going, struggling to, you know, with having the menopause. I'm so tired, and which is why I'm having a bad hair day today. And I just really, I would love to focus on this and focus on the free therapy program, but I'm just exhausted. And yeah, so I just, like I say, I need your help. And I know this feels repetitive and I do apologize, but I feel like I just need to keep stressing how important this is. But as always, you know how much I think of all of you and your support that you give me in the little community we're building here. You know, I love it. And yeah, I'm very proud of what we've achieved. So till the next video, as you know, I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.